acknowledging Chief Mchana Kumalo, the President of the National Chiefs Council in absentia, Senator Chief Charumbira, his deputy, who has just left the podium, members of the steering committee, the only female chief amongst them, other chiefs, senators, chiefs, members of the National Chiefs Council in our midst, leaders in different media houses who are among us. I saw also Mr. Piri from the Executive Secretary of the Zimbabwe Media Commission is in our midst. Editors from different media houses who are amongst us, and members of the media who are here as delegates, and of course those who are here gathering news. I see Musekiwa in interesting shots there. We acknowledge you too. I think Bulawayo is quite home. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues from different ministries and OPC, Secretariat, thank you for being with us. I was told to just come and make remarks. Now, I thought Sekuru will set the tone for my remarks after he has given us guidance on why we are here. But regardless, we shall speak. But there's one thing that I know. I know that we are not here to recruit you to be couriers of our propaganda. No. So those who thought today it's one government, we've been called by government, and the chiefs, they've given us some breakfast, some dinner. Now they are surreptitiously recruiting us to be purveyors of their propaganda. You may relax. It's not the intention. We are here, and you are here, because in 2019, the president surprised the nation. He was being interviewed by some of you here for independence, and somehow the conversation of Gukurahundi came. And he said, in my opinion, this conversation must take place. People should speak freely on this subject, and this subject must be debated in the media, and you are the media. And soon after, he started this program, which I'm not going to go into because it belongs to the chiefs. So I do not want to go offside. You know, chiefs and cows, I'll end up paying a few. Cows and goats, maybe even chickens, who knows. So I will not stray, which happens to be my totem. After the program had progressed, and we started approaching the launch, you know, a couple of weeks ago, we were in Bulawayo, where the chiefs were briefing His Excellency on where they were at an event at which they asked or requested His Excellency to launch the Community Consultation and Engagement Program, and His Excellency acceded to their request. So soon after, this program is here now. But surprise, surprise, you are all called to come and speak or learn or converse. Why? It's because the National Chiefs Council, also His Excellency, saw it fit that this program cannot make sense without the media. Because the media has a critical role every time when resolutions of conflicts of the past are being sorted. The media, yes, you know you've got a double-edged sword. It's either you inflame things or help resolve them. But we're here to confront the positive things that we can get from the media, that is, help resolve past conflicts. We are not taking away your independence by bringing you here. And by asking you to be partners, we are not taking away your editorial independence, but we are asking you to work with us in a responsible manner. The programs, the consultations will take place in the communities, identified communities. There is a likelihood that at the beginning of the program, you are all going to be very excited. You are going to hear stories, you are going to hear things over and over again. But in 2 months, your excitement will wane and you will lose interest. We ask you not to do that. The program is scheduled to take place about a year. That's what His Excellency pronounced. So, are you going to keep yourselves excited about this story for a whole year? Remember, when it starts, you're going to hear dramatic things. But again, you will hear those things over and over again, and you will stop writing the stories. You are likely to walk away from the communities. I don't believe that if we do that, we would have done justice to the nation and to the communities. So we urge you to remain focused, to remain in those communities, to remain engaged, no matter how much you think things are being repeated. Because it's important for the nation to know what's going on. It's important for you to continue telling that story. And it will give communities catharsis when their story is reported on. The whole idea is that we should continue to arouse public interest. We should also approach in a way where negative sentiments, which are there between certain communities, if any, are not inflamed. Let's choose peace ahead of strife. You are going to hunt in packs, particularly in the first days. You are going to look for exclusives. But before you get that exclusive or publicize it, think, reflect, introspect. What is this going to do to the nation? What is this going to do to the community? And at an individual basis, what is this going to do to the individual? We only ask for one thing: report responsibly. We know that as editors, as media houses, as reporters, of course, each one of us has a preferred outcome. That's understandable. But when all has been said and done, what is in the best interest of the country? Is it the continued simmering resentment between our people, or is it the peace that binds us together, cohesion that makes us move forward together, and that helps us build our country? Yes, you have your editorial priorities. You know what they are. But we also have national priorities. Should your editorial priorities trump national priorities? Are we going to aid and abet any residual tensions that are between communities, or are we going to aid and abet the resolution of such conflicts and such tensions? Are you as a media going to unscrupulously exploit fears and prejudices that are in a few? Or are you going to help mobilize public effort behind the nation-building endeavor? We believe that the media space should not be an arena for brewing internecine conflict. After this workshop, we ask for members of the media to attach themselves to a cause, and that cause is called the people of Zimbabwe. That is the only cause that's here. Gukurahundi is a contentious phase in our history, a difficult phase for many, a painful phase. Yes, we've been allowed to speak liberally on it. But now we are at a stage where reconciliation and resolution is taking place. Let's report sensitively. Let's report responsibly. Let's report accurately. And by God, let's report constructively. I thank you.
This is the beginning only, engaging with the media. It gives the media, hello, are you doing what I said you should do? Are you recording? I'm not typing it, you're not recording. Hello, this is only a beginning, and the media take the challenge so that you also make your positive, constructive contribution. I don't think there's any person, whether they work for media or for police or they're in the army, who wishes that conflict should continue, whether in the family, whether in a district, even at a continental level. Sorry. So no one would want to see conflict perpetuate forever. If we work from that premise, then we'll have some convergence in terms of emotional, sometimes standing between persons. So this workshop, if you want it in a better manner, when we do our final recommendations, then we ask you to make that contribution, make suggestions. You are not here to criticize. You are here to make a contribution constructively. So don't have a mindset which is like, coach, what of this, what of... When you are not thinking of making suggestions, it's unfortunate if you think in terms of attacking only. So at the end of the day, we expect you to say, right, having heard all this, if we could do it in this manner, even this workshop, you know, Gukurahundi, if you think there is something that would have missed out, to know it time. So issue of openness, no victimization, hey, we are trying to do that. As much as, since we started, people have been too fast, too quick to go to the conclusions. And the very people who are making the criticisms, they are also disempowering the communities. So we may also be guilty of disempowering the communities because we are trying to speak on their behalf when you were not there. That's a very important message. That in all this work, ultimately we should empower the communities. And the key word that you go out with, or key terms that you go out with, a take home after this, is that this whole program is victim-centered. If we are going, as you say, what happened? Are people going to be open enough to speak? It's victim-centered. Whether government or whoever should not speak on behalf of the victims. And since 2019, the road that we've traveled has been a road to get to the victim. Some of the criticisms, unfortunately, are people who don't see the road. They only see the destination only. And all their comments are just in the village. They do not appreciate that you can't get to the village before certain fundamentals are in place. So 2019 to now, we've been working on a road, what called a road map. And I'll share that. What was that road? But just to let you know that don't only think about where we are going, also where we've come from and why. So we are moving to the victim. All these meetings, workshops, and everything is how do we get to the big victim best, give them the best environment to express themselves. And how do we record that? How do we share that with the nation? So all we've done is preparatory. Some people quickly jumped to the village. And so Chief Charumbira Shona, Chief Council President, Ariku village Kunkai, talking to people there. Unfortunately, no, those people missed it. They missed the point. And much of the effort has been, and even Obeba Manyora, don't go to the village and speak Shona. Who come to that. But point in the good, because this is a process, and it's victim-centered. And we know some who speak in Ndebele, in Kalanga, in Sutu, in Nambia, in Tonga, between the two provinces. We know that. So to allege that Shona, and the Shonas will be listening to Ndebele or Nambia presentations, is a lack of understanding what we are up to. And what we are up to, I'll share. So just to assure you that there is no Shona or no Ndebele who go to Binga. No Ndebele will go to Kalanga. Kalanga is Kalanga. So because people will present in their own language of comfort. So, Chief Jarambira, Ndebele, and PhD is only in Ndebele, but I can't speak Ndebele. So, and Yendiko, because I can't speak Ndebele. So, my fears are, I want to preempt this. You know, when we started, Pagaita's audio, I circulated the whole country. Iwe Charumbira iwe, uri ubushona iwe, unoda kuita zokumani matebele and say, yes, no. Those are works of people who want to destroy the country. Chief Justice Malava, ulova kumatobo kuno kumati south, is the Chief Justice. Anotonga most of those who talk as Chief Justice. We have never said, you can't handle this case. Some issues, sometimes it involves even cultural matters. Marriage, he is the Chief Justice. So you can't say because this case involves Jimbobuda, Panas, Wakadaro. So people miss the point. Jarambira. But what people do not know is that Jarambira, what you know, Zimbabwe foot. There's a process to it. Ours, we are leading the process. And that positive process is sensitive, is also very sensitive to peculiar circumstances. And those peculiar circumstances sometimes involve language. So we will not ignore that aspect, a language. That is why Tirikut is the chief of the area that will hear submissions. Yet, even if you speak in Delele, but you are from Matopo, you cannot go to Cholocho. No. Unongweda zumu area mako chet. So it's not only about Shona speaking, what speaking. No. Are you the chief, the traditional leader of that area? Are no Zilama cultures? This is one point that Zimbabweans have not opened to well. That when you talk of death and you are seeking appeasement, reconciliation, it is about when you go to Europe or to Mexico, it's about how people of Mexico in their own culture are appeased. And we don't know, we are shy away from that point. We shy away from that point. But the point is, you cannot resolve issues of death without taking cognizance of the local values, traditions. No, that's why the chiefs are leading this process. Because tomorrow some people will say, Todakuta exhumation, for example. Exhumation is ridden with culture and the values. How do you exhume? Munochira muchidi muno karama kuita mumusha umusoro wacho ntasa ku east ku west. Zinu ze culture is. So we cannot escape the reality that issues to do with death have to be led by our cultures, and the leaders, the custodians of our culture, traditional leaders are the best. And we'll comment on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So this is I want to, and I will ask you ask questions in this plenary. We are saying this is a very open process, no victimization at all. If we wanted to hide anything, we wouldn't hold this workshop. No. This open forum. But we don't mind what you write, because whatever you write assists this process, whether negative or positive. But it's we realize, oh, there are some questions about this issue. So there's no problem. Victimization, let me answer that, but before I come into the process. No good. Yeah. And the media, I want really to say this openly, addressing Zimbabwe. People, these apprehensions, fear of. In the process that we have undertaken, this issue came up with my stakeholders, which I will explain to my stakeholders. More than 30 NGOs, organizations from these two provinces appeared in this room as stakeholders, as we were designing the program or the approach. If you're going to know, are you going to allow Maprisa, if you bring the police for my meetings, people won't be comfortable to say anything. Including our own chiefs have said that. No, if you bring Maprisa for my meetings, people will say, the intelligence. This, I'm talking about this, people said, army, my security organs, people will not be comfortable. As a result, when we do these interviews, there will be no police, there will be no CIO, there will be no army. And mind you, those present are only locals, people who belong to that particular area. There will be no strangers. That's very important. There will be no strangers. Because even the people themselves may say, go Indiano. Maybe I also want to try it and follow me afterwards. So we should agree on that one. There will be no strangers. And I'll come to the media when I get that question. In Dr. Mandela, there will be no strangers, so that people are comfortable to express themselves. And the police could be some of those strangers. So, and we've said this and shared with His Excellency the President, and we agreed. I know there's a question coming about Comedia. Tawe apano for 2 days. Let's engage. If you want to persuade us to invite the media, yes. But Mat North, Mat South have said, we can't have the media when a family is making submissions. No good for various reasons. One, these people are strangers. The police will say, "Oh, can come as media." So let's be very open about this. People can come under the guise of media. So the other issue is, and it even will be narrating the experiences they went through. Some of it very emotive. You have mentioned this. Some of it, I think, once released to the public, it damages very much permanently that very person who made the submission. You know, damage the public will now know, okay, Tongo na Jifamba, this person, she was raped in this manner. I'm just giving an example. We didn't know. Whatever she went, the person went through, some gruesome, whatever. So even kuma courts, media, court hearings that are held in camera. If you want to go back to your notes and say, why are certain cases only heard in camera? For the same reasons, during the hearings, they will be in camera. And I want to go quickly to this because you then say, so as a media, what are we going to do? Definitely, certainly, during the actual hearing, you cannot be inside. So that you publish tomorrow. Apart from the privacy of the individual family, there is no issue that you preempt. Because there should be a proper structured report, standardized reports as to what were the submissions and how do you approach it. Otherwise, when media will just, hey, this I think is like this. There will be a lot of distortions, and you will agree that that's not for the media. The media's role. But we will agree with you. What should be your role then? That's why you are here. What should be your role? A role which does not subvert what I've said in terms of privacy, in terms of unfair public distortions. What should be your role? We want to hear from you in this workshop. By this afternoon, we'll have heard from you. What exactly can you do, but also being sensitive to other issues of privacy? And the third arrow, then maybe one thing that as a non-media person and the other chiefs and everybody, we said we shall also hold, in addition to what you say, we shall also hold fortnightly media briefings here in Bulawayo, not in Harare. Because we have a command center here in Bulawayo. Every fortnight, you will be given information as to how things are going. How things are going, then you ask questions. Then I know you are good at saying, we heard that in Caesar, we heard that in Lupane, there's this thing, no problem. That will be the opportunity again to share with you the truth about what is actually happening. To us, that's a better way of managing sensitivities. Some of you said we should have shared the experiences from outside. Yes, we agree. I was saying to Pemsek Mangwana, in fact, resources permitting, we should have allowed this type of workshop, maybe second time, I don't know whether third time, but it would be good to invite, like, number one, Rwanda, and any other examples you want to give. I have been privileged in my work at the Pan-African Parliament to visit Rwanda many times. When you are in a restaurant, and I have done it personally, Rwanda, so are you Hutu or Tutsi? No, we no longer talk like that in this country. We no longer talk like that in this country. Zokunzi Tutsi Hutu no Ashaiti Akuchina, we don't have that. You actually get scared. They don't entertain such language, such divisive type of language. So it would be very good to invite Vanvana Rwanda. It's my best example of all the peace initiatives on the continent, because as a member of Pan-African Parliament, I've been to Darfur, I've been to Libya, I've been to Tunisia, I've been to Rwanda on these conflict issues. And I think Rwanda gives the best example. If we would have Rwanda people tell us their story. Because someone is saying, can this Gukurahundi end? There is a question. Is it possible to put closure? If you listen to the story of Rwanda, where within 3 months, April, May, June, by July, 1 million people, 1 million in 3 months had been killed. 3 months, 1 million. Just because you are Hutu, you are Tutsi. And when they tell the story, there were people's heads were beheaded. You see human heads in the street in every town. It got to extend where even the father, sometimes or mother was Hutu, would be killed. So like 1 million in 3 months. And as you all know, Rwanda or the international community said genocide. So because it's genocide, we will send 80 judges, 80, to Rwanda, international judges, to prosecute Vanuatu who were identified. They are also over 1 million. We want to know that after 1 year, they've done only 6 cases. Shakanjema, using this Western way of trying to say, hey, we appear before this paper, they abandoned it, you are aware. Let it go to the traditional Kachacha course. Most of you know about these things. And today, go to Rwanda. Rwanda is one of the most peaceful on the continent and one of the most thriving. So if Rwanda went through such an experience of 3 months, 1 million traditional systems used to settle, why can the Zimbabweans, who are said to be very educated and very literate for that matter, fail also to put this issue behind? Why not Zimbabwe? Who has, to me, lesser numbers? After all, that's 1 million in 3 months. More literate Zimbabweans, and the rest. Why? Why should we doubt our own capacity to be able to do that? Prosecution for those responsible. And I want again, the media, and you tell the world, I want to be very clear on this one. Isusu, our model of resolving conflict around Gukurahundi, our model is based on our own traditional value systems. Our own traditional value systems. Yeah. Kwa chifi, Nyangazonke, Matobo, how do they resolve these issues where someone is murdered by another family or that? So that's the model we are using. We are not importing models. We are using our own traditional system. Yagarairipo. Today, naona mpepa mu Chronicle headline irikut, a public welcomes death penalty scrapping. Then I say, Marquis Scraper, one big statement, I don't know whether I heard that. The most important statement why we should scrap is that in our own African system, we have never used things like death penalty. No. It's alien to our culture and the values. Yakauya nemurume anonzi Alfred Milner. Go and do research. After the 1896-97 Shona and Valley uprising against the settlers, 97, and I have that literature. The wise convened and said, "You look, we have lost Vanuatu, and you know we had won that war until they called the Queen to bring in the reinforcements which came through the channel in Botswana and through Beira. So they said, look, you guys, we are almost finished, wiped out by these chiefs. That war was led by chiefs. So how do we punish those who led this war? His Excellency, to the shock of everybody, I'm not talking politics here, but you are aware that our late President Mugabe, when this issue came up before him, each time he said, Iwe, and that time no one was allowed to talk Gukurahundi. I actually said it was a moment of madness. So we cannot deal with a moment of madness. But Mnangagwa comes and says, no, let's open up on this. Openly. That's why he's always coming to blow about the state of the chiefs. Let's deal with this issue openly. So it's a misnomer when you get people who still doubt, are they genuine? Mukurunga Digita genuine. If he's on TV openly flying from Harare, guru, then landing, just to come and talk about resolving Gukurahundi issue. Not once, several times since 2019. Why should we doubt? So you are free to discuss. Compensation. But the compensation. Do you have the means and all that? This question is there. On compensation, it came through stakeholders. The president has said openly, and it's in our documents there. The president said, all cases that deserve compensation will pay. That's what he said. We will pay. We will compensate. Tikatupane examples of to him, we shared this. Kunema cases of the breadwinner who was a teacher or some of the communities who was maybe due for pension next 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Someone died during Gukurahundi. So the family lost the pension. The president said, we will make sure that we bend the pension rules. If the victim was at some point going to get pension, we will still give that family the pension that they deserved. I'm just giving that example to show the level of commitment. Even when a person did not qualify for pension, but and the other cases of compensation, of course, Nangopa, a person who was gainfully employed, a breadwinner. There are other examples that you can also give, my kettle, my whatever. The president says, as long as it's clear, verified. It then brings us to the issue with one thing we should avoid is to compensate non-deserving cases. And we should work together, namely, let's work together on this one. How do we ensure that non-deserving cases do not benefit? You have also all heard about the victims compensation. What happened? I was a veteran in Gumborango, and they got hundreds of thousands from that. But under this program, we want to avoid that. And the only way we can avoid is that go to your community. Don't lie to me in Chavalala, in Pelanda, in Popoma, in Magwegwe, on yet you are lying. That this process is taking place in the village. People in the village will know with our father was made that. Everybody in the village knows about it. So he is quite well protected. No, but it's strong ipapo. Kuti, wherever you make your submissions, the chief, the people, I will talk of the panel at some point. The chief will not be alone. 14 people. One of them locality who know. The chief knows, every chief knows that during the war, that family in that corner in Ward 17, that family in Ward 12 went through some experience. They lost cattle. They lost family members. That every chief knows that. So you can't come from nowhere. And the chief can informally confirm, this family ever gone through this? So they fear that some people may just want to join the bandwagon. I think the probability is actually zero. It's actually zero because it's done within your community. I see my veterans will not come to Blawayo City Hall. Some people coming as far as Cholocho to Blawayo City Hall to be vetted, and then that method is its own flaws. So have the confidence that the right people will be compensated. Will editors be dismissed for telling the truth? Of course, in the Mangwana here, no mukuru information. But it's the Chief's Council very responsible. Maybe there should also be a complaints mechanism to the National Council of Chiefs who are promising, we are promising you that this will not happen to the editor. So there should be a complaints mechanism to the Chiefs Council to say, Maingota or Apa, in the Kunz. But in terms of ethics, and you are always publishing the truth. That responsibility is there, whether you are talking of Gukurahundi or anything else. So we are very open. That's why that Mapurisa Nini. Why OPC heavily involved in these issues? I think this is a very good question. And the one of Afunza is very bold and nice. We don't even know him or her. And that's the strength. That is Indian. Question why OPC heavily involved? Please, I need no publishers. For two reasons. OPC means Office of the President. President, we are working, National Council of Chiefs, working under the President, first. Secondly, and a very important one, very good. Chiefs Council, I'm not going to marry and send to bank in the Chiefs Council. And they understand the Mchapwa Makos annual travel in the form of whatever money or my targets, all of you individually who are invited, your costs of coming here, whether it's fuel or my coupons, whatever, but I won't go into details, but I know you'll be compensated. It's coming from OPC. Chiefs Council, I'm not going to have a coupon. So, OPC resources, basically, they are, because it's a presidential program, and I want you to report this accurately. It's a presidential program. Presidential programs are administratively supported by the Office of the President, the OPC. So, it can go we are resources. We direct our finance uno to apano. So if you look at the people who are here from OPC even now as we speak, booking of hotels, they want to book up if you go and ask about reception, check-in, so what is OPC? You are booked by OPC, not the National Council of Chiefs. No, but because who has given us this assignment. Then we go back to him, here's the budget. But all right, my office will support. So I believe, yeah. And then some think that during this victims and perpetrators in the government must admit its role. From the very first day with the stakeholders, this issue yakabuda, and there's nothing to hide. Yakabuda my stakeholders. A government, some apology first before anything, chakati before anything. But this process in terms of our own traditional ways of resolving conflict. Can apology is one element of that process? But I want to answer this now in total. But this apology in the my communities, my perpetrators should go and apologize. We don't know how practical that can be, of course. I think that is to resolve my victims to speak out. Let's have the victims speak out. Because once we start prescribing ourselves, this should be done. We become the victims when we are not. The guy, my victims, what is in their hearts and mind. Although one issue is about marine burials, exhumations. You don't exhume personal police clearance. So, in birth certificates, but death certificates, some want my birth certificates. My parents this process should address my death certificates. We want to rebury and erect my monuments. But if we start talking about those things now, we then take the space of the victims. The victims themselves will speak out. So let's also be restrained sometimes in trying to disempower the victims by prescribing what we want them to say. No, let them say out. They are competent people. A time frame for this phase yes, President, about a year. We don't know. It may take 4 months, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 year, because we don't know how many people will come forward from under each chief. It's not like a COPAC. COPAC, Parliament, consuming process. Yeah, I go to meetings in a ward, one meeting per ward, so you count them, and then you take 6 months. No, this one is not COPAC. It's the rule of the land. Come forward. You may be shocked where you think you will have 20, but where are 50, 60, or where you thought there will be 60, go around 10. So it will be this one to Nongo to cross that bridge when we get there. We want to visit some affected areas. We have never ourselves envisaged this type of approach. Because are you going to talk to the victims when you visit? Now that becomes another totally different approach to the conflict resolution. It was ready to shut out to the chief and then recorded. A safety of journalists covering the my editors. They are very safe. As long as we don't find them hidden within a meeting, embedding as in the journalists. But you are saying that will ask, because at Nago permission Yagadaro. A 360-degree appreciation of the program that you have assured. Startup is that you will have the 360 size. Small private media, they need resources to work not only in Harare. Correct point, and that one is for Minister of Information. They can address that one. Construction of museum, I think like in Rwanda, yes, Rwanda Kunema Museum, we have seen them. I've been there. We may find, I've seen Rwanda and Algeria. The museum in Algeria is also worth visiting. In our also my experiences during the struggle. This keeps coming. What happens to predators? People were traumatized. But look, we are trying to be open, and I don't mind. I got more than this myself. People were traumatized by Shona speaking. So speak local language when you go there, because when you speak Shona, they say this is the language that traumatizes. I've answered this one. Kuti a chief, people will submit to their chief. We language yao only. And I want to say whether Chief Charumbira or Chief Kumalo will go to another area to hear nothing at Tiendiko, will not even one place to go and hear and submit to us. No, it is the chief of the area. Shapera. Whether the chief's council or the steering committee, they will not steer by appearing at the public gatherings. The guy and the vega, and that is correct. Iyokuti Shona has ran for their lives back to Harare and Nyanyiku Zibazwangu. Kanayagaitika is not a subject of the Gukurahundi issue. My terms of reference did not go that far. Kutikuna Mashona. Maybe Suchawi Arimekore. For now, Zipo. I'm going. Attentions. My tribes, I think this is our duty, Tese. Let's end the tension like the Tutsi Hutu did. Arichadu some attentions. Media and community to be protected from security. I know that one is guaranteed. I may repeat. Who are media access? Media access is one issue that we will discuss. That will be part of your input. How do you access without subverting my principles, Edu? Who is a prominent victim or chief? Is the victim. This process is victim-centered, not chief-centered, victim-centered. No panamtambose, we are just setting ourselves properly. Guarantee my results. I know we are guaranteeing my results. Ajabuda, Ajaya national, kuna president is a principal. We do these are the issues. People want compensation. Upper. So many. Then kuna area. Some are saying, yeah, our district or area was left behind in terms of development because of Gukurahundi. About schools and others, clinics. In fact, even as early as 2019, we were told of a cabinet decision that there was a fund for when Minister Angariwe Education from me, I got a stroke. And National Day of Healing, yeah, it's a proposal which can be considered, that there is unity of purpose between government and communities. Yes, they support that. One true victims, I've mentioned that. There's true victims. The issue of Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I know when media was that's why they can write and read, or read and write. You see, when you do these things, you have to understand the approach and the model that you have adopted. You can't adopt all models in one approach. And the context matters. Context matters. So, don't apply anything everywhere because we context. Truth and Reconciliation Commission may work somewhere, but my own international experience also has made me attend a lot of workshops on issues of peacemaking, mediation. It is agreed across the world that all the UN, African Union initiatives, in peace initiatives, sometimes even leading to peace agreements, less than 20% of all those peace agreements across the world last. Congo signed and after 1 month repair. I want you to know that also, because of context. They try to internationalize without taking into account the local circumstances. My UN negotiated peace agreements, go and look at the literature, less than 20% last. Yes, imagine an collapse. Because at the best, on the models outside. So you have the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Yes, it's right to never, but we know to South Africa has number of accidents. Joanna Tutus here. And we are yet to hear of any such commissions that have brought sustainable peace. I think that's why in Rwanda, what will happen to those who speak Gukurahundi after, I can only say, copy Rwanda. I hope we also get to that stage. Electronic media, all sorts of media be allowed, yes. They do also. So, and that media should promote peace. It goes without saying. Deeper insight of what happened, okay, yes. Process never invited, you're good, this one. The process chiefs never invited the pressure groups. There's a document here, we have the documents. In this room, that's more than 30 pressure groups. You can call them pressure, you can call them civil society organizations, call them church organizations. In this room, each one came as a group, not in one collective, no. We said, as a group. And we engaged them, some 1 hour, some 2 hours, giving their views. So it's not true to say we never invited the pressure groups. We did. Even Nana Ibeju Rikazulu, they came here. I don't know, see? Ibeju. Atinakusiyama pressure groups. And that victims are not involved. Good things have come out actually. This process, our victims are not involved. Who knows the victims now? I know Zama victims, Palondia. This whole process, which I will go through again, is leading to the victim. So if we say we should involve them now, it means we know the victims already. And then there's a contradiction. We want the chief will invite the victim to speak out to that panel. So to queen the victim, involvement of the victim is not in the workshop. The victim wants to tell you what they went through. That's the involvement. Now we would make this accusation if Chiefs Council sat here in Blue and start writing and documenting who should be compensated. You know, the victims are never involved. Their involvement is not through workshops. Their involvement is very serious. To an opportunity, an opportunity to present their issues. That's the involvement for the victims. Their leadership, you understand how we've done it. I think Takambofunga. Victims cry of exclusion. Yes, they are right because they don't know the process. That's the answer. As we process. President, oh, Sakaiko Isusu. You know, Trikugal, fuel motor, no visa. Kutiente, Kumushakwin. Just preparatory work. It's preparatory work. Otherwise, our master, our king is the victim in this whole process. Better than victims tell stories better. Yes. Yes. Media told what, or the media be told what to write. Journalist can use when you're our story qualified to be a journalist after all. Why should I be told to write? I know in your newsrooms, you go and come and report, and they were quote, papa. It's our dream. You know, was not, don't write, it did this, it did not do. Over 1 year, so there will be no fear. Why will media not be allowed? Diaspora, big issue. Not only diaspora, what of those who are in Chavalala, Pelandava, but Vajivaku, Insisa, Varudao opportunity yavo. First of all, Tirikut, Madzimambo led. In this phase, identify and achieve wako. And we know everybody an achieve wake. And go. The chief, this will take place over, as we say, over 6 months or more. So within those 6 months, one day, travel off weekend, unaona going to appear before that panel. Don't say come to Peranda Amundi interview. Those risks again, Zokuti, we may be compensating the wrong people. In that community, when Wanachimbuido Mijibas were being registered, I saw Kwacharumbira, some of our aunts and cousins, whatever, they got married, they come to after the war. They came back. Kwacharumbira, so that methodology ensures minimum cheating. Regarding the Mat North, Mat South now. The outcomes, if there will be justification in what is possible to deal with peculiar cases, I think let's not allow ourselves to chew too much. We may not be able to swallow. And the whole thing at the end of the day, let's finish those areas where we are clear first. People in South Africa, for example, who may also be victims, and indeed we have them. In those 12 months, sure, weekend you can come back home. And indeed they are there. These things happened when they were in their home areas. In Gwanda, Chief Mate, for example. We were happy, Chief in the South, but this is, my claim is like this. So it's better that way. Otherwise, to know those Christians who are on the wrong things just because we held certain hearings outside the right space where we can ensure that people don't cheat. What will success look like? What did it look like? Simple one, it will look like Rwanda, where people are saying it's over, closed. Don't talk again about Muntevere, Mushona, Zakati, somewhere. Okay, that's the simplest answer I can give because I've got the experience here in Rwanda with that. But it can end because if 1 million people in 3 months were murdered and then they've closed, Koisusu mafika nambota urandana 20,000 were murdered. On the 20,000 and 1 million. Why can't we reconcile? What is it that makes us permanent enemies against dissident activity? Same is actually part of the strategy. It's not an omission. It's a strategic issue. It's deliberate within our strategy. Those areas will also be covered. They will be covered. But Takatenda, His Excellency the President, that Tikati Matrevere Ntriko, Tomboti Bruayo to Gweru, to Muloida Shimwe, kana capacity yedu knows the problem. The guide pays the ish. Then we say Midlands and other distant areas, Tawaya foot. And building on the experience from Mat North, Mat South, Kato in the Midlands are even better manage. Tawane experience yakanaka in other areas. So Midlands has not been left out. It's a question of phases. Kuti phase, to phase 2, no kuindwa. So Midlands will not be left out. Then you want to outline the program, program that you get before we conclude this workshop. You get